What would you do if you were the owner of a multi-million-dollar streaming company? Would you throw away all your effort and capital that you've built over the last quarter of a century? Would you stop caring about your customers and try every disastrous idea to save yourself? You probably wouldn't. If you've been around for the past few months, you probably know what we're talking about: the enormous Netflix catastrophe. But if you're unfamiliar with this recent incident, stay tuned, as we will explore in this video how and why Netflix caused its own crisis and downfall. From competitors to indiscriminately canceling shows, several factors play a role. But let's take one step at a time. Believe it or not, Netflix started in 1997 as a subscription-based DVD by mail service. This now seemingly archaic business model revolutionized the entertainment industry in unprecedented ways. Continuing to be innovative, in 2007, the company introduced its streaming service that allows subscribers to watch TV shows and movies with a few clicks. Do you like cutting-edge technology or prefer to stick to the old ways? Most of us enjoy the thrill of novelty, and streaming quickly became a preferred method of watching movies and TV shows. It doesn't mean that more traditional ways such as television or the cinema have disappeared, but the competition between them is ever increasing. Either way, back in the day, Netflix wanted to sell the company to Blockbuster for $50 million. Though Netflix was still a startup and only 3 years old, they were confident enough that it would grow to become an industry giant. And they were right. But Blockbuster didn't even consider the possibility of purchasing Netflix. And as everyone knows, they eventually declared bankruptcy. Netflix, on the other hand, continued to expand over the years and invest in original content. Despite financial struggles, difficulty bringing the company public, and massive layoffs, they finally made it. It has been one of the most successful streaming services in the world so far. And that's the keyword, so far. Unfortunately, Netflix has worked incredibly hard to destroy everything it once built. In 2022, Netflix faced a massacre on the stock market. After increasing its customer base due to the COVID-19 pandemic and everyone being forced to stay home, the company did not implement any changes to improve user experience and retain customers. People were overwhelmingly bored, and binge-watching every season of Too Hot to Handle or American Horror Story seemed like a great idea at the time. But all good things come to an end, and when life returned back to normal, Netflix reported a loss of 970,000 subscribers in the summer of 2022. Though they had predicted a net loss of 2 million subscribers, and the results were more encouraging than they initially thought, the incident was still the most embarrassing quarterly loss in the history of Netflix. Imagine being a corporation of that size and losing almost 1 million of your customers. It was a tragedy, to say the least. As a result, the company had to lay off hundreds of employees who now didn't know where to go or what to do. Let's take a look at how the market reacted after their earnings call. On April 19, 2022, one company's share was worth $348.61, and on the 11th of May 2022, the price took a nosedive and fell down to only $166.37. While the company seems to be recovering, the popular opinion suggests otherwise. Except for a few widespread TV shows like Heartstopper or Squid Game, no one really seems to care anymore about the platform. Better alternatives keep emerging, yet Netflix continues to make the same mistakes that led to the massive stock market collapse. What do you think? What are the chances of a full recovery and future growth? Now, what are all the factors that led to this embarrassing situation? Number 1, price increases. When you have a monopoly on a market or industry, you can play with the prices as you wish, increasing or decreasing them as a response to your competitors. But if you're losing money and your market cap has tanked, the last thing you should do is compromise your customers' loyalty by doubling the subscription price. After the increase in subscription costs, Netflix reported having lost 600,000 subscribers in North America. What did they think would happen? The customers would happily pay twice as much for the same service? During such a difficult economic time? Who came up with that idea? According to The Verge, the premium plan in the US in 2013 was $11.99. By 2022, it had raised to $19.99. Now, Netflix is trying to lower the prices again, offering a more affordable version that allows users to stream content with a caveat. They won't be able to browse any content without the ads. Whether that's a good idea or not, I don't know. But imagine you're a multi-millionaire that sees their company sinking. You may try desperate moves to keep it afloat, but the questions here are, for how long? Or will it even work? These are questions that Netflix seems to never have asked themselves in the first place. Number 2. Netflix's Quickster debacle. You may not remember, but in 2011, Netflix announced that DVDs and streaming would be separated, and that each would cost $7.99 per month or $15.98 for both. Netflix renamed their plan to offer DVD by mail service Quickster, and planned to run it as a separate business. Quickster was a dumb idea. It should certainly be a first ballot entrant into the Bad Decision Hall of Fame. Better choices have been made at 24/7 Las Vegas chapels after too many limoncello shots. Quickster was pitched as a way to offer users more convenience, though the entire concept of Quickster seemed anything but. Netflix was all but forcing its 12 million customers with joint streaming DVD accounts to create 2 accounts at 2 different domain names with 2 credit card statements and 2 different sets of ratings and preferences, all on a new website run by a guy who couldn't even spell the word quick correctly. Netflix CEO at the time, Reed Hastings, knew that his company needed to phase out DVDs, but traveling the Quickster route could not have gone worse. Although since then, Hastings has righted his wrong, but in his tenure, he wasn't able to elevate the company back to that high point of consumer confidence where it once so comfortably lived. Number 3. Debt and cash flow. Netflix has been investing in original content for a long time, resulting in a significant increase in debt. According to Macro Axis, the total debt of Netflix is $14.35 billion, which is 3.58% higher than that of the entire entertainment industry, and significantly higher than that of the communication services industry. Can't a reputable streaming company release top-tier content without owing billions of dollars? Although the company has assembled some award-winning shows and movies, it has come at a cost. Netflix seems to burn its cash as if it's worth nothing, and investors are now wary of the future growth prospects of such a risky company. If you were a wealthy person or corporation who wanted to start investing in streaming companies, which one would you pick? That's what we are about to discuss now. Number 4. The rise in competition. Quantity over quality. It's obvious that Netflix is no longer the only player in the game. The rise of HBO Max, Amazon Prime, Apple TV, and Disney Plus caused the once ruler of all to lose its monopoly. These streaming services offer original content and a vast library of existing shows and movies. When you face giants competing for your target audience, you must stand out and have a unique selling proposition that draws them to you. Netflix prides itself on releasing original content, but that's not enough when they choose quantity over quality. The average IMDb rating of Netflix original films released between 2015 and 2021 oscillates between 5.84 and 6.05 out of 10. There's a similar result for shows. The overall average rating is 6.9 out of 10. Looking at the data, it's safe to say that Netflix shows and films aren't very entertaining or excellent. Since we're talking about averages, there must be exceptions. Shows that are so good, people can't stop talking about them. Some Netflix originals have had a lot of success and helped build them a reputation. Shows like Dark, BoJack Horseman, Heartstopper, Stranger Things, and Mindhunter all being rated almost 9 out of 10 on IMDb. In the end, you're bound to release high-quality titles if you create hundreds of shows and movies yearly. Isn't it a bit foolish for a corporation that makes a living off streaming to release so many shows without focusing on quality? Even when some shows are excellent and popular, the overall quality of Netflix originals is not as prestigious. In fact, most of them are embarrassing disasters. Does anyone remember Tall Girl? That movie where a girl had everything she could ever need, but had a tragic life because she was tall? Yes, that's the type of content we're talking about. Other streaming platforms like Hulu may seem smaller because they don't have such a large customer base, but their clients are loyal because they know their business model and target audience. Sometimes in life, more often than not, less is more. And if you're in debt, as we discussed earlier, you may want to stick to that mantra, wouldn't you? Number 4. Binge watching, and then what? One unquestionable problem Netflix has is that it forces its customers to binge watch entire seasons as soon as they're available, and then have them wait God knows how long until the next one arrives. Take Hulu as an example. They're excellent at retaining customers because they release chapters weekly, and users return to the platform over and over. This is good because it exposes them to other titles that may be attractive to them, creating future engagement with the platform. And everyone is familiar with the thrill of waiting for that next chapter after the last one left everything unanswered. Loyal customers are willing to wait if what you're making them wait for is worth it. Even the Harry Potter saga divided its final movie into 2 parts to keep everyone interested and excited for a longer period. Netflix, unfortunately, is fond of releasing an entire season and then forgetting about people who liked the show or film. And worse than that, if the show isn't a massive success on the first day, they will most certainly cancel it. But that's the following problem we're about to discuss. Number 5. Constant cancellation of shows. How exhausting is it to have every show you enjoy canceled? Jessica Jones, Daredevil, Sense8, and American Vandal are a few examples of this. It's enervating, to say the least, to get addicted to a show that you know has a good chance of being called off forever. How would you feel if, instead of thoroughly enjoying a show, you had to fear the possibility of waving it goodbye? Netflix overlooks the possibility that some shows get better with time. Take The Office as an example. Most enthusiasts of The Office agree that the first season may be unattractive to some users, but if they kept watching, they would finally love the show. That's not to say that every poorly performing show must be given an opportunity, but it means that a company like Netflix, with millions of subscribers worldwide, needs to understand its viewers. What do they want? So what if you didn't get that 250% return on investment you wanted? Sometimes waiting is worth it in the end. Number 6. Banning account sharing. It wasn't a secret that many people shared accounts and consumed Netflix content without paying a dime. The company allows account sharing, which is an excellent option for subscribers, as it reduces the price and each person has their own playlist. Of course, users share passwords, and many people use the platform without paying for it. In this digital and piracy-ridden age, it is extremely easy to find content elsewhere anyway. Why did they care so much? After the stock massacre and investors' disappointment, Netflix needed to recover from such a blow. To profit more and counter the sharing password problem, Netflix banned account sharing. All of that on top of doubling the price of the subscription, remember? And what happened? Oh, well, the customers weren't happy at all. Instead of fixing the problem, they created yet another one for themselves. Many people decided to cancel their subscriptions altogether and move on to other platforms like HBO+. Genius move if you ask me. Number 7. External factors. Let's play devil's advocate for a moment. It can't all be Netflix's fault, right? External factors that are out of Netflix's control also played a major role in this massive downfall. The best example is the COVID-19 pandemic. Once the shutdown was over, everyone went back to their normal lives, and binge-watching movies at home wasn't as exciting as hanging out with friends anymore. Other global crises like the Ukraine-Russia war also contributed to this disaster. While it seems wrong in such a time of pain to speak about the war's impact on a corporation's profit, it's all part of reality. Following the war, Netflix suspended its services in Russia. As a result, the company admitted to having lost 700,000 subscribers. Surely, it seems fair to say that not everything is their fault. But the truth is, everything is their fault. You don't ruin an empire so quickly because you face the same conditions other corporations are facing too, do you? Every decision they made during the past few years was fatal to their company, and they brought everything that happened onto themselves. What is the future of Netflix? After everything we've discussed, what is the future of Netflix? Some people argue that Netflix will recover and do just fine if they learn from these mistakes. Others will say that it will never be the same. I personally imagine the future of Netflix will be bleak after all the mistakes they've made and continue to make. They're competing against streaming giants and need to do much better if they want to succeed and stay in business for the long run. And that's easier said than done. If there's one thing to learn from this cataclysm and disaster, it's that you need to listen and care about your customers. They're the ones who allow you to make a living, after all. You either adapt to the ever-changing world or get left in the dust. Anyway, what do you think? And I hope you learned a lesson today about how to not run a business.